In part 4, we saw how time goes beyond the timeline that we experience in this life. There needs to be a way to go beyond our limited time to create more than one universe. And universes without number need to be possible to fulfill God's need to create. You can discover for yourself that we are more than the space-time creatures that we normally think we are. Try it. Information can be accessed from beyond time. It is a part of rational Mormonism. Creation of other universes. Now we take some time to look at black holes and white holes and why there are men and women. It takes two. And the fact that the woman is the mother of the new universe, which leads us to the number one item that people think about when Mormons are mentioned, and that is polygamy. There isn't an eternal reason for polygamy. We show you that reason here. Few in the church know about it, and church officials won't talk about it, but we reveal the secret here. But first consider this. Some ask if the Big Bang was the creation of the universe, and, if so, where was God just before then? Referring to the theory about brains in the bulk colliding with each other, one scientist, Dr. Steinhardt, says, the Big Bang was not the beginning of space and time. There was a before, and before matters because it leaves an imprint on what happens in the next cycle. The bulk brain theory could be possible, but the author of this book prefers the idea of the multi-universes budding off of an existing one, as revealed in latter-day revelations uses for his creations. Most likely they are interrelated, perhaps with the new universes being considered as coming from the bulk, even if they are birthed by budding. From a recent popular science publication, we learned that the cosmos could be able to reproduce itself through the functioning of black holes. In his book, In the Beginning, The Birth of the Living Universe, astrophysicist John Gribbon proposes that the Big Bang may be a time-reversed mirror image of a black hole that just formed. He reasons that some of the many black holes that form in our universe may represent the seeds of brand new universes. A black hole doesn't necessarily become a one-way journey to nowhere. Many scientists now believe that it is a one-way journey to somewhere. It becomes a new expanding universe in its own right, with its own set of dimensions and physical laws. God could use this method to make new creations. So if our universe started this way, then everything, all space, all time, all energy were all rolled up into a small ball, a single point at the very start, and God could have been operating or orchestrating the whole shebang from another universe as things formed. In this theory, universes can be thought of as sort of bubbles, and at some point in time, another bubble starts at one point on the surface of the mother bubble and grows and expands as a daughter bubble alongside the original bubble. Other universes bud off from the original. They are separate, however, not connected. Nothing can come back and forth between them. How could this come about? One theory says that black holes give rise to the other daughter universes. Black holes happen when so much mass is gravitationally pulled together that no force can resist the pull, and all matter and energy and even light waves collapses into a single point. Even surrounding space itself is pulled down into that single point. What happens then is that all matter, at least 10 suns mass and maybe more, sort of disappears from our universe. Its presence is felt by gravity, though. Now, if you draw the curves of the mathematical formula of a black hole that's collapsing on a chart, it would look like two horizontal lines approaching each other, suddenly curving down to meet a point near the bottom of the graph chart. It forms sort of a funnel with a wide mouth at the top and a narrow stem getting so narrow it constricts to a mere point at the bottom. These curves are hyperbolas. A single point is at time 0, when the black hole collapses into a single point. Now, according to the mathematical equation, the hyperbola curve below the point of 0 time is also graphed, and the hyperbola now recurves back out into a mirror image of the upper funnel shape. This part of the formula has no relation to the real world. It graphs negative time and negative mass and negative energy and negative space. In our universe, you can't have less time than no time, or less energy than no energy, or less space than no space. It's nonsense. It has no meaning. But the curves are there. The formula that works for the top part of the graph depicts the bottom part also. Some scientists say, what if the curves represent matter and time and space and energy expanding from a single point in another universe, perhaps some form of a daughter universe? They call this type of expanding from a single point a white hole as opposed to a black hole. And if you consider what it would look like to live in a white hole after it had expanded enough for the intense energy to cool down, enough so that life could exist, it would look very much like our universe looks. An expanding universe that all started with a sudden burst from a single point, from a big bang. So according to such a theory, God could create a new universe, a daughter universe, off of his, simply by making a black hole, and bam, there's a new universe outside of his. Maybe that's how our universe came to be. But why even consider God in the process? A black hole forms naturally as a result of the basic laws of physics. You get so much mass together, and it all contracts by itself, as predicted by the laws of gravity. Where is God in this equation? Well, for that, we'll consider the problem of natural law developing out of chaos. What are the basic natural laws of physics? They're formulas that represent, as best as we can tell at this point in time, the relationship of various particles of matter and the forces and the energy of space and time. They are called laws because, as best as we can tell, they always apply. And if they sometimes didn't apply, then that means the universe would be a lot less orderly than we currently observe. But these laws are a form of order, and they define the way the universe will develop. But at singularity, a single dimensionless point, that a white hole starts at, in other words, a Big Bang, there is no way to describe what anything is, as anything is everything, and anything can be. It is chaos, meaning it has no meaning. But as time and space spring into existence, things start to sort themselves out. The possibility of anything starts to collapse into the actuality of something. Meaning is formed, the basic parameters of the laws of physics distill into real descriptions of energy and forces, and later into particles and antiparticles and such. The result could be anything. Who's to say? There are zillion ways a universe could turn out to be based on unknown chaos. Most of these possible universes would not be compatible with life of any kind. It could be a universe where the resulting forces between particles were so strong that atoms couldn't be strung together by weak chemical bonds to make chemicals of life. It could be a universe that didn't have the sudden inflationary expansion to spread out the matter enough, and all matter contracts into a giant fireball. It could have such a weak gravity coefficient that all matter just sort of drifts off into space. Or it could have such light, weak nuclear forces that atoms come apart and the elements don't form. Or it could have such strong nuclear forces that protons collapse and blow all atoms apart, leaving no matter at all. Now here's where God comes in. He could tweak these forming universes, so when the fireball creation cooled down a bit and the physical laws condenses out of chaos, the new universes copies all the required parameters from the preceding universe. And how does he do that? It could be a form of seeding. Just as a crystal can form an exact copy of a small seed crystal by matching the lattice of the seed structure, so a cooling fireball of a white hole could possibly form all the dimensions and the physical properties and the physical and spiritual laws needed from the introduction of a perfect form that contained all of the virtues, properties, dimensions, and laws in the form of a perfected being. Yes, an exalted person, a God, for the new universe is to be a personal universe in which all the entangled particles and fields are connected to and affected by a personal God. Why? So God has control and can eventually get new universes created out of this new one. The problem is the memory of this perfect specimen would be wiped clean because there would be too much chaos at the instance of insertion to allow a data transfer. Memory is data. It is organized data. Within microseconds, as the universe formed physical laws, then things would be ordered enough to allow data to be transferred. But by then it would be too late for this perfect specimen. This God would have already had her memory erased. Yes, I said her. For the God from whose body comes our entire universe is the female of a perfected and exalted couple. Man and woman are they. Eternal husband and eternal wife are they. United together and each fulfilling their divine calling are they. This perfected and exalted couple, who were sealed together for all time and eternity, are the Godhead that created the universe. They work together. It takes two to create a universe. They are equal in their divinity. And the greatest is the woman, for she is the mother of the universe. The creator of all you see, every particle that exists comes from her perfected body. Every particle is a direct copy of her basic attributes. Every particle is connected forever and ever to her, our eternal mother. We all fall on our knees in everlasting thanks. It is like the yin and yang symbol. The two are part of the whole. None is superior to the other. The man's calling is to be the director. The woman's calling is to form the universe under those directions. The information part and the matter part. The idea and the idealized. Just as the yin and the yang symbol, they are intertwined. They don't completely mix together, and they don't stand completely divided and separate. They are intertwined. God the Father follows his wife right after, as soon as information data sets can exist in the new universe. He restores her memory to her by remembering her, and they rule forever as the everlasting Godhead. Soon they form the spirits of their heavenly children, and a new universe develops with the end goal of bringing some of their children to the perfected and exalted state, whereby they, the children, can seed their own budding universes by breaking off of the old one and making a new universe. And so it goes forever and ever. God the Father is the director. That is his calling. He organizes and saves the shared data of their entire existence, including past universes, as well as whatever information comes from their children's new worlds, perhaps through a higher state of virtual existence, such as the multi-brains in the bulk, as mentioned above. She, our Heavenly Mother, is the mother of all. She is like the womb we grow in, cradled by her perfection and forever connected to her. We can have a place to grow and develop. That is her calling. She is the mother of all. Because God the Father's part in the creation is to direct and handle the data set of her and him, and of the universe, he functions in a non-physical way of pure information, and hence can be part of more than one creation out of the original universe. She can't, for she is committed her whole being to the one creation and remains in that new universe. He, however, could share his data set with more than one universe if he had more than one co-creator to act as the perfect seed for other budding universes that were developing from other black holes. That is where multiple eternal marriages, the so-called polygamy, comes in. It is an eternal principle. It is not an earthly principle. It is not because the earthly man wants more sex, or more sons to expand the empire, or needs a lot of women to feel worthwhile. It isn't even that at some point in church history the faithful women outnumbered the faithful men. No, it is for the eternal increase of creating multiple universes that the eternal law of the new and everlasting covenant, so-called polygamy, came about. It can easily be withdrawn from men on earth. There is no need for it to be lived in this mortal life. It is, however, part of the eternal scheme of things. You may have noticed that there was much emphasis on the term perfect and exalted in the above paragraphs. The two beings have to be perfect and exalted to accomplish the creation maneuver. This is because you need to be perfect to get it exactly right when putting your all into a new creation. Otherwise you will be consumed by the fireball of the creation. If things don't go right, you'll be burned up. If you know you are not perfect, you will not even attempt the creation. You will be stuck here in this universe. Your progress will be stopped. You will be damned. So doing right is not just a whim of God to test his creatures, but is a requirement of the universe to advance, to go beyond the corruption of a physical universe that will end. The only way to become perfect is to have a perfect individual perfect you. In effect, to be redeemed. This is where Christ the Redeemer comes into the picture. He is the only one who can redeem you. I know the Mormons talk a lot about eternal progression and working towards salvation, but no one can do it by themselves. You cannot learn enough or progress enough by yourself to get to a point of absolute perfection. You will always in some way be dirtied by the things that you did in the past. You will be imperfect, and hence you will burn up in the fireball of creation. You need a perfect individual to wipe those imperfections away. You need Christ.